3rd of October, nice sunny day. Not a whole bunch of warm. The leaves are starting to turn. It's getting to be that time of year, but I'm going to go back at this Volkswagen project I got going on. Alright, I came out here the other day and did some work to this. I kind of ground that seam across the back of the fender well and down the side. I added another little patch, but got everything kind of ground down as good as I'm going to get it. Built a patch that went down the front of this guy from here down and all the way around the back to the skin. And then, as we can see through the back here, these spots, I tacked that rear skin down on the other side of this structure as well. So, pretty happy with all that monkey business. And that's where I'm at. Well, I guess we can see on the floor here there's a bunch of paint chips and crap. Well, the other day a friend was over and there was a chip in the Bondo right here. Well, I got under it with a putty knife, and before I knew it, I'd done this to it. The nose on this bus is not correct. That's a 62 and later nose because of these big guys here. And I was going to fix those anyway. I'm going to put bullets back on it. But there'd always been a crack across the top here, and then a big chunk missing out of the Bondo here. So went ahead and scraped that, and I decided to keep on scraping. This paint just peels off when it's been in the sunlight a while. And here's where they seamed this nose, right across here. And it's in a little bit here where there's a bunch of Bondo and stuff. So I got to dig all this stuff out of here and get back to the basic structure of this nose to see what all's here, and then fix it correctly. There's I think this isn't a whole bunch of thick. This is like primer basically. So I think most of this is pretty straight. There was Bondo here, but there's a big dent right here, and then down in here there's some cracks that we can kind of see. So I have an idea there's some Bondo in here. I think this thing got hit and it's got a couple dents in it, so I'm gonna have to get those dents out of there better than that, get rid of that Bondo. But I'd been afraid of this because I didn't know why there was so much Bondo, but I'm kind of feeling a little better about it. I think it might be more solid than I thought. There is foam on the inside, so I got to get all that foam out of the inside of the front of this and then start working this panel. So I wasn't planning on this. I was going to drive it with that little chip in the Bondo, but I got carried away. So now I'm committed to the nose of this thing, and that may be what I start next. At least I'm going to strip it down and see what I got to deal with. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the bumper and the headlights and the signals off of this, probably the wiper blades and antenna there, and just start scraping and see where I end up. You need a wiper transmission. 6 bolts, there were exactly 2 that were correct, but we got it off of there. And when I put it back, it'll be a little closer to what it's supposed to be. Alright, the other day when I started peeling this, it had been sitting in the sun, kind of like it is right now, for quite a while. And stuff was warm, and that paint was actually reasonably soft when it came off, you can see. So I'm going to let it cook a little bit and start scraping. This lower piece, they're usually always gone, and I can see a whole mess of bubbles and crap over here. We'll see how many holes are in that. On the inside, however, it's completely coated with undercoating, and I've thumped on it all the way across, and the inner of this guy appears to be solid. They didn't get any of the foam down in there, so it didn't really trap any water, and I think I'm going to be alright with that. Maybe I can get away with just patching this edge, or maybe I'll have to put a full strip on. We'll have to wait and see. I hope not, but if I do, I do. So grab the putty knife and just start scraping and see what will scrape off of here. I don't know if it's the right tool for the job, but it was one I was using the other day and it worked pretty good. So this area here, this primer below, is not even been sanded. There's no tooth on it at all, which is why this paint is just coming off of here. Earlier I was relying on the heat of the sun for this, but it's not warm anymore. It's cooled down and the paint's gotten really brittle. Doesn't come off so well. So I got my guy here, and I'm just running it on low, and I'm just warming this up. I'm actually not cooking it or anything. Just warm it up a little bit, and coming off a whole bunch better than without. There we go. Kind of see it. Well, more than a couple hours of scraping. Here's a bunch of paint on the floor, and what's not on the floor is in my little bit of hair that I have and all over my face, but I'm not afraid of this anymore like I was to start with. I knew it had been reskinned basically because the signals are incorrect, and there was a little crack across here that I knew of, and I had no idea what was underneath. So I had a big fear of this chip in the Bondo, which was fairly thick here, and it really didn't have to be. It's not that big a dent, so get behind that, pound it back out a little bit. Should be pretty good. The only other cancer I found so far is on the outside of this headlight bucket, and down below on the front there's a certain amount, which is to be expected. Worst of it appears to be over here on this side. The inner part of all that underneath is solid. I pounded on it when I was under there taking those bumper brackets loose, and it all feels real good. It's all under undercoating, and they didn't fill that area up with foam, which probably is what saved it. But there is foam on the inside of this whole skin, so got to get all that out of there at some point and see what's back there. Alright, here we go. My favorite thing here is spray foam. So I guess we can kind of see what I got going here. It's the next step. We got a pile on the floor there, and some on this box here. And I've already emptied one box from the other side, but I got a lot of this out of here. There's still some down in the bottom of that hole. Most of it's loose. And then under this headlight and around down in this side, I still got some to dig out. And then up above here, which is real easy. But it's kind of like that out here. So I'm going to go in and get some food. Turn the air and stuff off here, and yeah, but I got some progress happening here, and it's a bunch of labor at this point. I've got very little into this. Homemade patches here, old bits and pieces I'd stored from years gone by, and pretty cool. So I'll be back at this. I'm kind of psyched. I'm having a good time at this lately. So I think it's the weather change. It's time to come inside. That's what it is. Come inside and hibernate for the winter. Well, as I work on this sheet metal and stuff, I used a rabbit clamp for my battery, things like that. I'm not making this truck 100% correct, which to the VW purist would probably be a sad thing, but I plan on driving it. A little history I thought, about my thoughts on this and my barn slash shop here in general. This place here has always been kind of a separate place from my normal life. About 11 months ago I quote retired, and in fact I didn't. I'm not old enough to retire. I quit. I just quit my job of 34 and a half years. The company I worked for, I just didn't like to see what was going on there, and it was just time for me to move on, and so I did. I never made a lot of money. I just kind of made some decisions along the way that got me into this, and that was basically trying to keep this hobby separate from my normal life. Years ago when I started getting into Volkswagens and stuff, I realized they were a good investment, and throughout the years that's turned out to be a fact. Buying cheap and trading up is what I kind of have done, and I don't have a lot of capital out of my normal pocket, my job pocket, into what's out here other than my tools, which I gotta buy. But the cars and things that are out here mostly have been kind of traded for, or bought with money that I've acquired through Volkswagen somehow or another. It's a hobby. So basically, I don't have a lot into this truck out of my pocket, so to speak. It's out of the car fund, and all that money, came through cars. So anyway, I'm doing this on a budget. So far, I've bought 2 brand new tires that are on it, some metal tubes to build my rack, and some brakes. And that's all the money I've spent on this truck since I acquired it. And I don't plan on spending a bunch more before I'm able to drive it. Mostly, what I'm putting this together with is stuff I have out here, and then, the electricity to run the welder, and some grinding wheels, things like that. So it's going to be a cheap build, and it's not going to be pretty to some people, but you've seen Old Maynard if you watched my video of a few weeks ago, and that's what I drive, and that isn't a whole bunch of pretty. But I love that car, and even the way it looks, everywhere I go, somebody's got to stop and talk to me. They've all got a Volkswagen story. That's just the thing about old Volkswagens. Everybody has a story, and it's fun to drive them. People rolling up in their $40,000, $50,000 cars are always looking at them, and usually there's a smile on their face, be it a smirking, type smile, or one that actually is a happy kind of smile, and that's generally the case. They're great old cars. I love driving them, and I'm going to have fun driving this old guy, and it's going to be not pretty, but that's kind of what I'm doing here. It's a budget build, and that's why some of these things aren't correct. I mean, I could have bought a panel for this, spent a whole bunch of money for a brand new piece of green metal that didn't fit. I went with an old rusty piece that I had to patch up that didn't fit that well, but it's the same year truck, both pieces. 1960, so it is going to be great for me. And I have some more patches to do. Pieces. Got to fix this, and it'll be a piece off of the same other truck that donated. So it's kind of where I'm at and why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I'm learning along the way. I'm learning how to do crap like this. And it's kind of fun, actually. It's kind of fun. So I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. And I hope people will follow along. Whether or not it's interesting, I don't know. But there's a lot of people out there that know how to do this stuff and do it, you know, correct or way better than I do. And that's okay. I watch their videos, and that's how I kind of learn what I'm doing. But I don't copy what other people are doing. I just kind of learn what they're doing, and then I may not follow their process 100%, but it gives me a good idea of what I'm supposed to accomplish. Growing up, my dad, he once told me that he didn't try and teach me how to do things. And in fact, that's the case. What he told me was, I tried to teach you a way to think. And that's what it's all about, being able to figure things out. So if you can think a certain way, you can figure this stuff out, and it may not be exactly the way somebody else did it, but the end result, as far as usability and functionality, whatever, you know, will work out right. So that's kind of what I'm going by, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. So thanks for watching, and I hope everybody continues to watch. And yeah, the 3rd of October out here. Thanks for watching.